We had no pre-ramble there. No pre-ramble.
No,
just
straight in.
No foreplay. Straight into this.
Yeah, well, it's because there's a sense that there might be some computer issues. So we said, let's just do it. Let's go. First of all, advertising.
Nice shirt. Jeez, I need to get one. Get cups as well.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Available. Link in the description. Link in bio, or whatever's the cool thing to say. Yeah, and incidentally, if you do buy it in Europe, which I am in Europe, obviously, the VAT or the import charges were calculated when you bought it. So when it arrived, they didn't have to pay anything, even though it came from America.
Right.
Which is, well, I still want to find someone who actually ships from the Europe for people in Europe, because it was the cost of shipping to Europe was as much as the T-shirt. So that's no fun.
Oh, but who listens in Europe? There's only me and... Is England still Europe?
No, but they have their own charges. I don't even know where to start trying to deal with that. But I think someone was saying that Printful, if you buy from Europe, you send it from Europe. If you buy from the UK, send it from the UK. If you buy from America.
Right.
But if you buy from Australia, could be anywhere. Could come from anywhere. So, yeah. It's quite cool. I'm happy with it. I like the print. I got a red one as well for the wee man, but it's huge. So he'll have that in 10 years.
He'll grow into it.
And the women's size, I got one for Vanessa as well. She's happy enough.
Nice.
Yeah, so, Jesus, man, the fucking heat. When you're in a large metal container. Whew. It's not even that warm outside. I think it's like minus 12 degrees because it's Ireland.
Take off all the black bin liners you have on the top. That'll help.
Yeah, and the radiator. You know, the stuff that you put around, the lagging jackets that I have on. Yeah, you have to probably get rid of that, yeah.
Next, you'll have solar power up there. You know?
Yeah,
I'd love to have solar here, but we can't. Not that we can't. It's just it doesn't make sense to have it because it's weird. In some parts of Poland, they'll give you a grant. Well, not anymore anyway. This is before COVID. They would give you a grant which would more or less pay for it. But in my part, they don't. Even though it's weird because like this is the part of Poland where they should be pushing it because all the Poland should pay for it. But you know.
Yeah. Common sense and politicians don't seem to be something that mixes.
No, not really.
Yeah, we get grants for all of that kind of stuff here, but you have to like pay for everything up front, and then you get it back. Like that involves having to have the money in the first place.
Those tax credit grants are pain in the arse. Like it just means you'll pay less tax for the next 10 years. Yeah, but I don't plan on living that long.
Yeah, and what people are doing as well is getting a credit union loans out, so it kind of balances off that it's not really. Like, I understand it, but it's like, what can you do if you don't have the 10 grand for whatever it is? You don't have the 10 grand. But
credit union's a great thing. They don't have that in a lot of countries. America definitely doesn't have a credit union.
Right.
It's quite communist, like, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of let's all get together and have our own money kind of thing. It's less and less like that though, because I've never had a credit union thing because I don't know, I just never got around to it. And I don't like it. Most people have a credit union, so it's a local bank for people who don't know. It's like a community bank. And it's to help give loans to people in the community to do up their house, to do up their business, but small, like it used to be. But now people get mortgages with credit unions. My mum's mortgage, for instance, with credit union. I didn't know that. And I remember
it works in a way that it used to be that however much money you have in it, they'll give you at least 3 times that.
That in a loan, yeah.
That might be 5 times now.
That also went away for a while and then came back when people went, what do you mean you can't pay this back? You give me all this money. Yeah, we had issues in Ireland with banks and giving out too much money. But anyway, I never had one because I'm not into getting loans. I don't like having personal debt. It makes me feel terrible, so I just avoid it at all costs. But my wife does, and I was in one time and I was paying it off. And interest rates is as high if you work it out as a credit card. So that's,
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh.
A good credit card. Not a like, if but it works for her because she'll get a loan out and pay it back in 6 months. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't do the 5-year thing.
That's the thing to do as well. It's that like the more loans you take out of your life, the easier the loans are to get.
Yeah. But if your cousin never paid back his loan, you also won't get a loan. There's a lot of that kind of stuff.
Come on, that's only I suppose it is local politics. I suppose with people. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, like if you're a local person and you're working in your local credit union, you know everyone's goings on, don't you? You know.
But I suppose if you're going to do the community loan thing and well, we've given loans to your parents for years and they've never paid us back. So, I mean, what's the chance of you paying us back?
Like that thing yesterday, I was talking to Jason on the Discord. I had a question about American property tax. Fucking blew my mind. Like, it just, that doesn't, what the fuck is that all about? Like, that's, what's the way it works in Ireland? Because property tax is relatively new in Ireland, isn't it?
Well, it's over a decade. It's about 12, 13 years old now at this point. Maybe. It's definitely 10 years or so.
What's it done? Is it done on the value of your house when it was bought or what?
No, the value in your house today, this year.
How did...
But it's self-assessment. So you can go, I think my house is worth 50p.
It's worth a tenner. Yeah.
Well, but the last year they just dramatically dropped it. There used to be like, say, this is wrong, but in the spirit of it's right. There used to be like, say, 5, 6, 7 different brackets, from 100 grand, 200 grand, 300 grand, 400 grand, a million, or whatever.
What's it done on? It's done on like bedroom. How many bedrooms you have?
No, the value of your house. So a house in Dublin that's 1 bedroom pays as much property tax as a 16 bedroom mansion in a place that property isn't high. It's to do with the value of your house.
Blows my mind, but it's so fucking subjective. Like,
but they've changed it to, I think there's like, again, could be wrong, but there's like 3 levels now, so it's like up to a certain amount you pay, like 90 quid. It was hundreds now.
Okay. That's
but it was quite like, I mean, people were paying 400 and 500 quid a year, which, I mean, people go, 400 500 quid a year, but that there's a lot of people who just can't afford 400 and 500 quid a year, particularly on something you own already.
Well, yeah, exactly. I own this house. Why am I paying tax on something I own? Yeah. That should cause a revolution. Like.
Yeah, well, I mean, it did in the UK, the whole the property tax thing, didn't it? Back in Thatcher's day, like that was part of it. That was one of the huge kind of things around that. What they didn't call it that.
Well, she deserved everything she got. In fairness, horrible woman.
Yeah. But it's like I would be fine with all of that if the road outside didn't have potholes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. I get that. Of course. Yeah. I mean, I can be happy with where taxes going as long as the hospital gets a lick of paint every now and again, or gets updated, or the roads are okay. I totally get that.
Well, I mean, that's the socialist ideal, right? That is what we pay for, all of these things that we all use in the ideal world, whatever. But what happens is taxes seem to go up in certain degrees, and then you go, well, why is that hospital closing? What's that?
Yeah. I don't like the way that it's the weird thing. Like, I like the idea of local government being in power of localities and all that stuff, but at the same time, when you have, say, the richer cities, Warsaw, Krakow, Dublin, whatever, back at home, or Cork's shithole.
Say that on or Ireland.
See how Cork. I don't like the way that poorer regions are neglected. Then I think it should be an even thing for all places.
Well, that's the dilemma, right?
Yeah, there's no okay, if there's a highway in Warsaw, and it's to a high standard, why isn't the highway in a smaller place to a good standard too?
Because it's like saying, well, there's 10 people who live here, so should the 10 people pay 100 grand each? Or should we take some money off Warsaw? And if we're taking money off Warsaw, then it's not independent. Warsaw should have a say.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the thing. You can't.
That is the problem. Yeah. It's almost like democracy doesn't work. Almost.
It's the best we have, though, isn't it? Currently,
Is it?
People were saying that people in severe dictatorships, their level of happiness is much greater than people who are in a democracy.
Yeah, but that's what they say in the surveys.
I know. Yeah, it's like who's going to say no? I'm not happy with this.
Exactly.
Debt. Get in the debt queue.
It's like the people in Russia getting surveyed about the war. How do you feel about the war? You have my phone number.
Yeah.
So what am I going to say?
I don't talk about the war. Oh, it's wonderful. I think it's brilliant. Yeah. But I mean, I'm sure we've equal things happening that we're the same. Like it's easy to point at the people who are in a dictatorship. Well, probably have equal kind of mad thoughts about what our society is. I know we have for a fact. Like, I mean, there's plenty of things where if we find acceptable that plainly aren't. That when other people do it, oh no, hold on. Yeah, but you've been doing that for years. Yeah, but that was us. We're the good guys, right? We're allowed to do that.
Yeah, mint sauce. Mint sauce is the worst thing Britain has ever given to the world.
It's a lamb thing, isn't it?
Mint on lamb. What the hell is wrong with you? You know what I mean? We can forgive the genocide. Well, we can't. But mint sauce?
Draw the line at mint
What
sauce.
even mint sauce on meat?
What's the yogurt?
It's to make you poo. You know that. You eat mint,
it?
so it makes you poo. That's it. But it's like, Jesus, like if you're going to eat like stodgy meat, just put a bit of cabbage on the side. Then you'll fart the gas out instead of needing like 5 minutes there. Oh, I need to go. You know.
Isn't there mint in that yogurt as well? Is it Tazaki or something it's called like that? I quite like that.
To see
something.
That's for the hummus, isn't it? That thing
yeah.
in hummus to make it. Yeah, that's hard to get here. Fucking hell, you have to go to the posh shop.
Yeah, I like hummus. I'll tell you one thing about it. So it's just over a week of my plant-based diet. I've grown superhuman powers now. My morality has improved dramatically. I'm a much better person than everyone else. What I have noticed is, oh man, the flatulence. Ooh, unbelievable.
Cabbage.
No. Yeah. They say it can take
what's the thing?
4 to 6 weeks for your body to go, hold on, man.
I know the stuff. We used to give it to the dog. Our last dog used to have an awful problem with farting.
A dewormer.
No, God, what's the English name for it? Cumin seeds.
Oh, right, yeah, okay, yeah.
Cumin seeds put cumin seeds in your food, and it reduces that. Yeah, the check food and check food is full of cumin seeds because it's heavy.
Yeah.
So they put loads of cumin seeds in it so you don't fart as much.
So it's like that's like the curry thing. It's like turmeric, isn't it? That kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. I think turmeric supplement. That's meant to be great for inflammation and all that. Well, yeah. But yeah, I'll tell you what, the vegan things, I'm enjoying it, going well. I'm not bored of the different food yet. I got some of the vegan cheeses just to try that. So I got one of the halloumi, and I really like halloumi. And this is so a coconut-based substitute. Halloumi, is that what it is? Halloumi.
Hallelujah.
Because you know,
praise
what's
the
her
Lord.
name? Holly Willoughby. That's all in my head when I'm thinking Hallelujah. She's a TV presenter. She used to be on with Keith Lemon on Celebrity Juice. But so I says I'll get some of that, whatever. And it's like, you remember that stuff you used to be able to get in Ireland? I don't know if you could ever get it anywhere else, but it was just lard. It was a block of fat, cow fat. Yeah, that's what the vegan halloumi tastes like. It's like not coconutty enough to be coconut, and not cheesy enough to be. It's just
Can you use it for frying even?
No, it's just
like lard. No,
because it doesn't even turn into, it doesn't turn into a liquid or anything. It just turns into a kind of soggy, lardy thing. But that's great. In one sense, it's great because the whole point is not to eat it's to step away from the processed food. And with the vegan thing, it's so easy just to get. Because I was eating one of the vegan sausage things, and I was looking at the ingredients, and I'm going, I'm essentially eating bread here. Do you know what I mean? That's what I mean. I'm eating a slice of bread rolled up with some preservatives and stuff that's not food. And so it's like just trying to. So that's why it is, because it's all the legumes, the beans, and all the stuff that, carbohydrates enjoy.
Are you doing this to stick with it, or are you just doing it for a while?
I don't know. Just kind of doing it, see how it feels, try it on. But it's kind of with the thing, if that I'm stuck in an airport, I'm starving, and all that's available is a pizza, I'm going to eat a pizza. I'm not, but it's the not harm reduction, the reducing, mostly vegan, that thing. But so far I've stuck to it. So.
Yeah.
But again, it's not to make it a taboo either. It's just like, okay, just don't go full throttle at it. But if I can do it, I'm going to do it. That's the way I kind of look at it.
No, fair enough. Go for it.
Well, because if you do it right, then it's it should definitely improve my diet, which I need something in that. There's talk that how good it is for the climate change stuff. Again, that's debatable, and then you have the animal things. So there's plenty of great reasons to do it or whatever, but it's the moral superiority I'm really going for. So
why can't we just kill evil animals like cats? No, I'm going to get shit for that. No, I like cats. I like cats. Well, no, cats like me better than I like them, which is weird about them. But I will take any affection that's given to me, so I don't it's mine. Whatever's going. I don't know. What are evil animals? Hippos. Hippos are bastards. Why don't we eat hippos?
They probably don't taste nice. I'm sure we've tried.
I wonder. But that's why people don't eat whale, isn't it? Because it's horrible, Yeah. And also we don't eat oil anymore because we have
other stuff.
Arabia.
Yeah. We've pipelines from the east. It's an interesting one. The whole kind of the animal stuff. I assume at one point we went round and tasted them all and just decided that cow, lamb, goat and chicken is the best. Occasionally horse, you know, depending on where you are. But did you eat horse in Poland as a standard?
Where was I? I was at someone's house and I had horse sausage, all right. But it was those you've been in Polish shops over there, presume. You know the real thin, dried sausages that they sell as a snack. You don't even cook them; you just take them out of the pack and eat them. They were like that.
More, not that cured.
Yeah. They were like that. But like, I felt wrong doing it, get down with then, and I wouldn't do it now. But like at the same time, like I had salmon yesterday. I don't know. Like I've been trying to give up meat for ages, but then like reading about like I'm really trying to get rid of this fucking sleep apnea, which means I feel like I drastically need to change my diet and be eating the food that is better for me. So like just reading up on, and the people who know the best about this stuff is Chinese medicine, you know? So reading up on that, and it's kind of like, well, your body type is this, because you're supposed to stick out your tongue in the morning and what color it is and stuff like that. And
mine's usually purple after drinking wine, so the purple tongue. Okay.
Tommie doesn't brush his teeth, everyone. He just puts a whitener on it every now and again.
Yeah, I just put one of those sheets that you put in the dishwasher or whatever.
So yeah, there's stuff I found out like my personality type or body type. I'm not supposed to drink coffee like at all. So I've given that up. I've only drank 2 cups of coffee in the last I think 6 or 8 months or something.
Right, you know? Great.
Done really well off it because I thought I'd really miss it because I was drinking 4 or 5 a day, like, and
only 4 or 5.
Tommie's shaking there. And
Tommie, why have you anxiety? 10 cups of coffee a day, yeah.
Stuff like that. Like I've pretty much given. Like I was a butter fiend. Jesus, I could eat a pack of butter in 2 days, like on bread. So I'm
bread, the butter delivery system. Yeah,
like avocado stuff, guacamole now instead of that, and hummus.
That's nice, on you.
Spreads and stuff. They're healthier and stuff. So it's basically trying to get rid of fucking gunk in my nose because your nose is full at night. You open your mouth and you breathe through your mouth, and that's not how you're supposed to sleep. That's
is getting really bad with her sinus, and the hay fever and all that stuff isn't really helping at the minute. So she's trying to cut back a bit on dairy and stuff as well. Like she's definitely, I like pizza. I am not giving that up. But excuse me. But you know, the milks and stuff like that. Some of the milks are grand, the plant milks or whatever. Some of them are there's an odd. You go, this tastes like gone off something. You know
and then when you try and if you try and make pancakes with like a rice milk, they're like,
it's not happening. Yeah.
Or coconut milk. What's coconut milk? And we made waffles here one time and coconut milk, and it was just minging. You know?
See, I think that's the thing. The trap I don't really want to fall into is trying to make vegan foods that are other foods. You know, it's like find the vegan foods or the plant-based foods, whatever it is, rather than here's let's mix a load of gluten and spices and it'll look like a burger. Don't eat a burger. That's it's crap. It's just shit food. So that if you're, which is what I'm trying to be healthier and trying to the same kind of thing. Trying to don't eat the shit food.
It's the oily fish one that's annoying me because I'd gone off fish for a long time after watching that really good documentary that was on Netflix just about the horror of the seas and what we're doing to the oceans. And now like the Chinese thing is telling me not oily fish, you have to eat lots and lots of oily fish, like sardines once or twice a week, salmon once or twice a week.
What about just like cod liver oil kind of thing, just get it into you kind of thing? No,
they all say
not the same. No.
Supplements just aren't good enough because if you take a supplement to get the same value out of that supplement, you may as well just eat a slice of salmon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the whole notion of since you take a vitamin tablet, and you go for pee, you go, well, there's the vitamin tablet. There it is. Straight out. Yeah.
I don't like doing it because, like, I mean, did I watch it with you? Did we watch something about the Faroe Islands? Did I watch that?
It's hard to know.
How was stuff we watched? It was about the way they kill the whales once a year.
I can't watch any of that stuff. But just
so
can't.
They round up a school of whales and whatever, they'll kill a few of them in the bay. And the guy was like, one of the farmers was saying, look, it's like this. Like nothing grows on the Faroe Islands. Like we have grass, so we have livestock, but like we've no vegetables, we've no stuff like that. And like, if you're someone in the UK and you eat chicken, like, how many chickens per year die for you? Like, it's at least 52. I kill one whale. Like,
yeah.
And if these are all souls, well then I have one soul on my karma. You 52. So, and he was making that argument. It's like, you can't really beat that argument. You know?
No, and it's like there's a huge case to be made that more animal life is killed from processing a vegan diet. You know, but overall there's less damage done. It's hard to take all of these statistics and everything put together. But like thinking that the combine harvester going through the wheat field isn't killing anything, it's a bit naive. You know what I mean?
Oh, gotcha, of course, yeah.
But people, you know, it's not something people like consider or whatever. But well, most people.
God, I remember years ago. I have a bad story for you.
Oh man, it's just gonna
No.
It's just gonna hurt me on a soul level.
It's about what age was I? 12. Yeah, let's say it was 12 or so. And so we had beet fields.
Right.
The
purpley thing, that thing.
Sugar beet, yeah.
Yeah.
No. That's what's that one called? Beetroot.
Beetroot.
The
No, but is the sugar beet not actually still?
No, sugar beet's white when you cut it. When you cut into it, it's white. You can lick it and it tastes like sugar.
All right, okay.
It's not particularly nice. We used to give it to the dogs. Or you can use it for fodder for the cows and whatever. But so the fields worked on a rotation. There'd be 2 years of barley, and then it would need a break from that, and you'd put sugar beet. So Doubtfully used to send us up weeding out wild beet or whatever. Just whatever shouldn't be growing there, we'd pick it out. And so I'm walking up there one time, and next thing, this pheasant flies off. I'm like, oh, cool. And then next thing I come up to this nest, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. There's 3 or 4 eggs there. And I should have walked on, right? But idiot here, right? I rang my uncle because he's a hunter. And he was raising pheasants from birth, right? Because what they would do is then they would raise the pheasants, and like 50 or 60 pheasants. They'd let them out and whatever, and then they'd shoot whichever ones didn't get away kind of thing. So it worked out. It's meant to work out in a positive for the pheasants because I breed 50, 30 will get away. I might shoot 10 or whatever. That's anything. So I rang him and I says, look, I'm after finding these eggs. Will you come up and get them? And he said, yeah, put them somewhere warm and I'll come up and get them tomorrow. He never came.
No.
And on the second day, I'm in my bedroom and I'm bawling. I'm crying. I'm so sad that I've taken life from this poor pheasant mother. And my ma's pissed off at me as well for doing this, like to do this to like an animal. And I'm like, oh God, like the guilt of it was horrible. And the outfit came up to me that night. It was a proper like cowboy fucking father and son moment, stoic outfit. And he's like, it's not nice, is it? I says, no, it's not nice. He says, look, the amount of tractors I've driven up fields and you drive over stuff, you can't do anything about it. I'm like, that makes me feel a bit better, you know. But like, it's a big mistake. I shouldn't have done it. I should have just left. I know I should. Like, I still remember that. It's mad.
Yeah, but I mean, that's how you learn never to do that stuff again. You know, that's.
Yeah, didn't mean to kill 4 animals though. 5.
Well, at the same time, you know, your uncle, like it's his karmic responsibility as well. Like, that's shit. I know exactly how you feel about that. Not that I have a similar thing, but I know the feels. Like it's oh God.
Yeah, just guilt over. You think you're doing something good for someone, and then it's like, no, you idiot. That's the wrong thing to do completely. You know. But then again, like the old fella would have driven up his. Well, it would have been a few months later, I suppose, to be done the harvesting. But eventually, the nest would have been crushed anyway. But they would have been, hopefully, would have been out of it by then.
It's horrifying. Oh, there's nothing fun about any of that story at all.
See, this is why in Ireland they have these things called reps. I think they still have them. Is it the oh God, was it 3 meters or 3 meters is what 15 feet? Maybe it's a bit more than that. Maybe it's 5. No, 5 meters is too long. 5 trees is 15. No, what am I doing? 3 trees is 9. But yeah, 5 meters from each ditch. You're supposed to leave wild, and that's where the birds are.
All right, that
supposed
definitely
to
doesn't happen here, like because they'll go right up to the ditch. You can see it,
right. Well,
unless they're counting the ditch as in 5 meters from the road. Would that be maybe rather than from the boundary?
No, it used to be 5 in from each one. Maybe they stopped doing it, but my dad was doing it when he was still farming. But like, he gave up farming a long time ago. Like, you know.
Will we go into our facts about Ireland?
Yeah, I
Short, snappy TaSTA these days. Let's at least attempt to
Trying to find one now that's interesting. Because I had...
I've won. Ireland has won the Eurovision Song Contest 7 times. More than any other country. We won it in 1970, 1980, 1987, 1992, 1993, 1994, 1996. And since then, I don't think we've even got into the final stages of it, have we?
What was 1996 was like The Voice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I am the voice of the wind and falling rain.
Yeah, Riverdance, the sensation.
Yeah, it's basically a song of Riverdance, is more or less what it is. Yeah. The Rock and Roll Kids one, that was my favourite.
Or the Johnny Logan, yeah, thank you. The epic moment.
What was the really good one that didn't win? Bagatelle. So I got on a bus to Dunleary, dropping off to get up my guitar.
Was that in the Eurovision, was it?
No, I think that didn't win it. But it became a big song. It's a great song.
And the rock and roll, we are the rock and roll kids. That was another.
Yeah, that's a good song.
I don't think it won either, though, did it?
No, that did win.
Oh, did it? Yeah. So we used to really care about the Eurovision. We're so bad at it, but then we put Jedward in one year, and I mean, I think that just
Dustin the turkey, the puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like Eurovision used to actually have some kind of credibility to it. Yeah, because it was about music. Now it's just.
Well, I mean, they've even admitted that they allow fault rigging to a certain extent. That there's rules around what you can do around it. You can't. I think if you can't give you the big score, the 12, you can't. That has to be given to what you think. But you can give all the other ones to your friends.
Now it's a big mix now of epic songs, or else the countries who don't take it seriously just trying to outgay each other.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Or out weird or
So you get like countries where like homosexuality is fine and okay, so you get like Italy, Germany, England, and they're all like, woo, lots of rainbows and stuff. And then you get Poland, who will just have this epic, dark, longing song about love or heartbreak. And then Slovenia, Slovakia will all be the same thing as well. And then you have a couple of ones on the borderline, and they're like, ooh, I'm kind of gay, but I'm also not, kind of thing. Like, what the hell is going on here? The only thing you can do with Eurovision now is play Eurovision bingo. That's pretty much it. Like,
yeah. I suppose it kind of, when Terry Wogan kind of stopped because he died, that a lot of people kind of dropped off that. Although, what's his name? No, Graham Norton. He's meant to be quite good. Although I don't think I've ever. Like, I like Graham Norton. Well, when he's on telly, I can watch him. He's fine. I don't go out of my way to look at him around. And his wine is fine as well. Speaking of wine, but he, people don't seem to have. Enjoy it quite as much as Terry Wogan's snorkel. Though some people really hate Terry Wogan doing it, so I don't know. Oh, I
know. Terry Wogan's was great. It was just take the piss out of everyone, a fact for you. The shamrock is not. Shamrock isn't the national symbol of Ireland. The harp is. Mm-hmm. We are the only country in the world that has a musical instrument as our on our flag.
Yeah.
As our national symbol.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
But it is on the flag. It's in the white bit, right? Not how to do it. You don't see it that often, though. You only see it.
Well, no, they use it on the governmental and presidential seal.
Okay.
All of his stuff will have a harp rather than the tricolour, because the tricolour is a bit like, we have this flag temporarily until we get the 6 counties back, but shh.
Yeah. Yeah. Watch this, as the days go along, seems more and more likely. Okay, so Irish lessons with Tommie and Spud. How to say goodbye in Irish.
Think about this today. You get I still remember lots of bits and pieces from Irish class in school. I still remember all of the Our Father in Irish. Do you remember it?
Oh, no, what's that?
Arnahar, Artar, Nav, Gane for Donham, Dog the Rig, Ganeher, or Huller and Tolive. I know, I have to say it quickly now.
Yeah.
Arnahar, Artar, Nav, Gane for Donham, Dog the Rig, Ganeher, Huller, Tolive, Marneher, and Nav, Honor Hin, Hoon, Tour doing in Yolis, Matu, Marvika, Marvia, Norbe, Kuna Fain, August Nalik, Shinigaho, Xershino, Ulk, Amen.
Saoirse or Ulk, Amen. Yeah, that's it. At the beginning and the end, I can remember.
I don't remember the Hail Mary, though. I
can't even start it. Or Mora.
Yeah. Mora something. Oh, no, I don't remember it all. But it's just remembered.
You think that would be more in my head than it is? Like, that's completely lost. But I'd say if I was to learn it again, it probably would come back.
It'd come back, of course it would,
yeah. Excuse me, I'm coughing a lot today. My apologies. It's obviously the COVID. Remember that was a big thing. And now it's just gone. Remember that? Yeah. So in saying goodbye in Irish is slán.
Slán.
Yeah, and it's similar enough, I suppose, to sláinte. And it probably comes from the same kind of thing. But rather than, because sláinte means health, right? This means safe. So you're basically saying, be safe, whatever, when you say slán. And it's spelled S-L-A, squiggly line, which is called a fada, N. And the fada works the same as any kind of thing. It changes the sound of the vowel in it. So I suppose it puts a slán. It puts an I in it, I suppose, would it be, for people who like SL? No, that would be more slain then, wouldn't it? Slán.
How would you phonetically? S-L-W in it was slán.
Yeah, as in your garden lawn, slán. Put it, yeah, so slán. And there's kind of a couple of bits that you can add to it. Slán a bhaile, and that means safe home. Let me see what else we. Slán a gut. That's safety to you. What do you think of it? Safety to you, man. Slán a gut. But it's more like it'd be like if you were saying, if someone says slán, a lot of it would be slán. Yeah, slán a gut. Yes.
Or like when your parents-in-law are leaving the house, you'd say slán to your mother-in-law and slán a gut to your father-in-law.
Right? Is it? Is it? No, all right, that's good. But I know, because if slán a gut's only to one person, so if it was two, it's slán a give.
Well, yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
don't wish it to the mother-in-law.
All right, you don't. All right, I'm sorry. I was completely.
That's the longest mother-in-law joke ever.
No, I was going. It's just a grammar joke, because I'm not getting this. Yeah.
If anyone ever does a compilation of the worst jokes you've ever done, I hope that's like at least top 5 anyway.
Right, we'll do a compilation. So hold on. What thing says slán a gut is have safety, and slán leat is safety with you. But they're kind of, I don't know, same kind of feel to them, or whatever. So slán leat agus go raibh gut is what you would have to say in school every time someone came in.
Oh, yeah.
Like a teacher, and then they went there. The entire class had to go slán leat agus go raibh gut.
Yeah. Even though, like, she just came in to give the other teacher a box of fags or something. We have to stand up. Boy, thank you.
Yeah.
For passing 20 carols to the underage teacher who shouldn't be smoking. Well, no, teachers aren't underage.
And the last one I have is slán go full.
Slán go full
is F-O fada I-L-L, full. But think of full as in a baby animal. What's a deer? Is it a foal? No.
Yeah. Baby horse.
Oh yeah, and so it's that just means safety for a little while, like safety. But again, it's taking it literally doesn't really work. But it's again another form of, be well, look after yourself. That kind of
They say another one on the Nuacht is the Irish language news. Slán agus banach dí, which is like goodbye and blessings.
Oh right.
Yeah. It's a nice one too.
Yeah, and I suppose you have the different ones like my rainbow her lash, the road rise with you. But I'm not sure if they're stuff that's been taken from English and put back in or whatever. Whether I don't know how old these are or whether.
I like that one. I always put that on, like if you have wedding cards or anything like that, or if you sign a guest book at a wedding. I always put "Can I rainbow her lat?" because people have no idea what the fuck it means.
Right.
And when you try to explain to them, they still don't understand.
Yeah.
Like in English, may the road rise to meet you. What the fuck does that mean? And what's the second part of it? And may the sun always be at your back.
Yeah.
There's other ones as well. But that one makes sense because it means you're not walking into the sun. May the road rise to meet you. Right.
Well, it's just like may your road be stable and not hard to go on. That's kind of what I take from it. Is that like?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Like, does it mean that I won't have to walk mountains? Maybe. The road comes to me. The road will rise. So I'm here, and the road comes to me.
Yeah. So if you're on the top of a mountain, the road has to come up and level off. Yeah. It's an aspiration that's probably not practical. Or
God damn Irish lads, some fucking road builders, them lads. There's no hills.
But generally, if anywhere in Ireland, if you say slán, everyone, even if even people who've only recently come into the country, everyone knows slán. It's a thing that you hear a lot, and it's one of those kind of words that you forget even as Irish because people say it to each other. Not tremendously, but it's like it comes out a lot, and people will definitely say it leaving houses and stuff like that. I'm sure you even find yourself saying it every now and again to people in Poland. Do you? That just
I'd say it at home. No, when I go home, I'd say it.
Yeah. So, Irish with Tommie and Spud. I'm sure no one knows any better than they did previous to it. But so far we said hello and goodbye. and we're getting close to the entirety of that Beatles song. If we slowly every week, we will get through it. Okay, so on our fundamentals section of the show, where we're going to talk about the fundamentals of magic, we decided this week that we're going to talk about sigils.
Oh yeah, hold on, no, I want to get
due to the actual panic.
You keep talking, I'll be back. You keep talking.
So yeah, the whole idea with this section is that we kind of look at some of the kind of main things that are in and around kind of magic, or mostly, I suppose, chaos magic, but not necessarily just kind of leaving it just to that or being kind of bound by that, but have kind of things like sigils, meditation. We did offerings last week, and Spud has a list of any number of things that we will walk through. But if you have kind of any suggestions of some sort of fundamental or something that you would like us to discuss or talk around or have a chat around, don't be afraid to drop us a line and tell us what it is. But we do have a number of them. We work at 10, 11, 12, something like that.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah. A handful. So this week we talk about sigils. I suppose when you think of chaos magic, one of the very first things you do think about is the kind of notion of sigils, which are, I suppose, ostensibly just squiggles on a piece of paper that people masturbate to, right? That's probably that's the definition of sigils. And thanks very much. That's the fundamentals.
That's it then. Thank you. Let's move on. Next section. We're so professional.
Yeah. It's kind of purported, I suppose, that Osman Spare is Austin Osman Spare was the guy who came up with the kind of idea of sigils. But I mean, it's not strictly true in that the whole idea of sigils or symbol representations of something else that's been used since the beginning of time, like since cave paintings, since, you know, even the middle-aged goetic seals for demons or whatever. But like, they're always like, or to a large extent, the way we think is symbolic as well. Then we always have things that represent other things, even like astrological signs, the hieroglyphics. We even had languages and written languages that were symbolic in nature. But I suppose in a strict magical context with the intent of trying to affect change in the universe or in the world or whatever, Spare was probably the first guy who really kind of honed in on that. But I suppose it's been most popularised in chaos magic, in modern chaos magic, by that Grant Morrison disinfo lecture, where he the screaming banshee himself comes out and explains exactly how to use sigils, how to activate them, what to for, or whatever. And that popularity has that turned into a kind of the thing of where people really kind of latched on to sigils in the chaos magic kind of milieu.
Yeah, I think Austin Spare is kind of credited with
because this is his alphabet stuff that he did, the magical alphabet and all that, and it kind of comes from that.
It's from his stuff that chaos magic took it and ran with it. You know?
Yeah,
like he didn't come up with them around; they've been around, like you're saying, for thousands of years, kind of thing. Well, I'm trying to find can't find it now. You love this. In my Advanced Magic for Beginners, I have destroyed the back page with notes. Destroyed it, Tommie.
Nice.
Look at him grimacing.
That would be handy when you're on the island and you've only one book. At least you can write love letters to yourself.
Yeah, I'd have to. Yesterday. I think I'd have to go with Abraxas' answer there, because he didn't. It was not the Bhagavad Gita.
The Maharabata.
It's the how do you say it?
Maharabata.
Because that has the Bhagavad Gita in it, so I think I'd go with that, because you get good value for your book there, you know.
Yeah.
There's no point going with the Bible. God, the Bible would just make you miserable, wouldn't it? Stuck on an island with one book, you'd be like, God, you'd be pulling your hair out, going, what the fuck is wrong with these people? No, I was looking this up because his thing about sigils is good. It's like, do the proper way, take out the letters, the numbers, and all that kind of stuff. But then, like, the last exercise is like, don't do it. Just do it in your head.
Yeah.
It's like,
that I think, Advanced Magic for Beginners, I know he probably in many ways disowns the book. I'm not sure if that's the correct term, but he's definitely, his answer whenever you ask him, it goes, I was 27, what do you want from me, is kind of his answer to it, that he wrote it at that time. And probably, if you look at Magia and you look at Advanced Magic for Beginner, if you even look at the Baptist Head books, there's definitely a development in his thought between them. But I still think it's definitely, I would recommend it as the first person's magic. I think it's as a primer, it does exactly what you need as a primer. But I love, as you were saying, the fact that when he's talking about the sigils and the different techniques or whatever, he'll go, well, this is it. Now, what happens if you do all that, but you decide at the end that your sigil is now for something else? Or you use a sigil that you used last week and decide now that it's something else. What happens? And it's the whole encouragement of do the fucking work yourself. Don't just kind of, here's how it's done, here's what it is. And that that's the only way you can do it. And it's kind of looking at all of these different kind of approaches and different stuff and goes, what one works for you? And I think that's one of the main kind of stumbling blocks people have in magic, in that they feel that they need, in a sense, a permission. It's interesting, chaos magic thing that happens. People go, is it okay to do this? It's like there's invariably the response is, well, try it and see. It mightn't be okay. Magic. It mightn't be okay. But by that I mean it mightn't work. But whose
just
permission do you need?
Don't sit in the circle. That's really it. You can do everything else. Just don't fucking sit in the circle.
Invite the demon in and put the triangle in the circle. Yeah. But I understand in one sense, because then you have the other dysfunction of that is completely throwing out all tradition and not having any of that kind of, so it's that kind of spectrum. It's like, but somewhere in the middle, like be aware of tradition, but be aware that as a chaos magician, the approach is that you have to try it yourself, and it's about experimentation and all that kind of stuff. But the very first time you do a sigil, do it as described, let's say, which is, or at least take someone's method, because there's any number of things. The standard how to make a sigil is you have an intentional statement that you make. Some people say it should be in the present tense, because that opens up to, say, I want to have sex is your sigil. So what you're actually manifesting there is the want to have sex. Whereas you can, that is coming very much from a kind of a law of attraction, new agey type thing. But I mean, there's sense in that. I can understand that makes sense to me. So you would say, I'm having sex, or whatever it is, or I've had sex, or, I sometimes think that saying it in the past can work a bit more than saying it in the present. But I've also have had sex in the past, so I'll just go, yes, you've had. So if it's something that you've already done in the past, it's probably not great to say it in the past. But if it's something that you haven't, like saying, I have passed my driving test, if you've never passed your driving test, I think it is a good kind of, that can be, you can use the past tense in that as well. But I'd kind of messed around with the different thing and found that even putting down driving test has the same type of effect as whatever you're kind of looking for, in that it's just an encapsulation of an idea. That's how I see it, rather than, this kind of, you have to get it exactly right, because some people think, they'll fuck you over, and, if you want money, they'll kill your auntie. I was going like, how powerful do you think you are, man, that you can kill your auntie by magic? But I know, understand it's that they're trying to say that it's easier to manifest something through bad luck, say, than good luck. And so you have to try to avoid all of that. But then you can have 6 pages of stuff. Well, when I say I want to have sex, I mean, I want it to have to be good looking. But if it's possible, can it not be someone who's related to me? Or whatever, and you have pages and pages and pages, which in itself is probably, a manifestation.
Poor HGA is up there and she's like, no, dude, you live in Kentucky. Everyone's related to you.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah. Or it's just like, you don't actually have an aunt to kill. So where am I getting the money here? You know what I mean? So I just kind of, my hit rate, I suppose, with sigils is it's about 6 out of 10. I've said this a million times, but, and it gets way easier to get the stuff when I don't care about it, and way harder to get stuff when I really want it. And this would bring in the whole idea of lust for result, that you, the more you kind of chase after to want something, the more unlikely it is to happen. And you can see that in a lot of kind of different things, not just in magic, like if you really want to be friends with someone and you put too much effort in and you get, step over boundaries, you actually repulse the person rather than, when you put too much into it. So it's something that's worth considering. But there's a trap in it too, where you have this idea that you're meant to forget the sigil. And I think there's kind of different notions around it, because if you're doing a sigil to get money for your rent, you're not going to forget that. You're just not, because it's a pressing kind of thing on you. And you're going, well, and then there's this kind of panic. I thought about it. This kind of thing. So it's like, in other people to kind of say, it's not that you have to forget what your magic is for, it's you have to forget what this particular symbol is for. Which I can go with that a bit more, because the whole idea is to take an intellectual idea, symbolize it, and put it either out into the world or the matrix, or to your subconscious, depending on what you think is the agency that's happening at the time, to manifest it. So the response, I suppose, to that is that do a number of sigils at the same time, so that if you have 5 or 6 things that you're trying to attack, and then you do 5 or 6 sigils, you mess them up, it's less likely that you know what each sigil is for. In practice, it sometimes you do, because when you draw a sigil, sometimes it comes out that you go, oh, I wanted to go fishing, this looks a bit like a fish hook, or whatever. You just it kind of can reflect it in some way. So from then, you had this idea of shoaling, which is Gordon White's kind of his big thing, where if you do a number of sigils together that are related, then that seems to make it more efficient, or the efficacy is improved, or that if they're related in some way or shot off at the same time, that they can have a bounce on effect. So even if they're not related, if one of them is, I'll get a new job, my dad will ring me or whatever, that the fact that your dad rings you then in some way boosts the magic towards getting a job. And so the kind of natural development out of that was that, well, what if I do a sigil for something that's definitely going to happen? Will that then improve the chances of the 4 other ones I'm doing at the same time? So we go, I'm having spaghetti, or I eat spaghetti for dinner. Also, I get a new car, more sex, a strange looking banana, whatever your other ones are. And then you launch them, do your thing, and then you make a point of then going having spaghetti for your dinner, so that the first one of that shoal has become manifest.
Just make a note there that you said a strange looking banana after you wanted to have more sex. All right? You're going to need to bring that to your therapist. All right?
Well. In fairness, one of Gordon's examples is always is that he gives is having a sexual looking fruit. So maybe he should go to the therapist.
Every fruit is sexual looking.
Here we go. Here we go.
Except a pineapple. Yeah. Pineapple a fruit? It's not a vegetable. Or is it a nut?
Oh yeah, it's hard to, yeah.
It's a fruit. Yeah, anyway.
So
right.
that one that you definitely are going to do is called, Gordon might call it the robofish. That's definitely the main thrust of Gordon's kind of sigil stuff, and that's what got him noticed. It's definitely, if you put sigils into Google, it's the top one, I assume, the rune soup one that comes up, how to make magic with squiggly lines, whatever it's called. But of course, he's not the only person who talked about sigils, and there's plenty of other different things. The Gordon or the Grant Morrison one, he's the activation. His big thing is that you have to masturbate over it. Again, the activation of the sigil is just basically when you've decided that you've taken your intent and you're putting it wherever. We'll come back to that in a second. What actually happens there? But there's a thought in, like, say, Chaos Liber Null. That's the whole idea of that you have to get into a state of gnosis, which is that Greek word for knowledge, which is that kind of, I suppose it's the non-dual state, right, in a sense, or that kind of sense of you disappear, or we all become one man, or whatever. When you've had it, you know what it is. It's hard to describe. It's one of those things. But masturbation and the point of orgasm, or sex in itself, that actual point has the same kind of release in it. So you stare at the sigil. Can be a bit awkward if you haven't mentioned it beforehand to your partner that this is what's happening. What are you drawing on my forehead? Shut up.
Surely though, surely. We're going to get into wanking now. Surely masturbation is bullshit though, isn't it? Because it's just, Spud, you've dug a hole now. Dig up, Spud, dig up. How do I get out of this?
Well, you see, the thing with the masturbation
is just a relief, isn't it? It's just a release. That's all it is, really.
Well,
whereas sex is woohoo.
But I suppose it's the intention.
And what I mean, okay, so let me finish this. So what I mean is that, like, if you're going to implant something in your head, that's whether the unconscious or subconscious is going to do it, or whether the great all is going to do it.
Yeah,
I think it's better to put it in then after a heightened emotion, rather than just, I'm bored, I have a wank.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the idea is to ritualize it rather than just stick it in with your random daily wanks. You know, thing. It's not just like, while I'm here, I'll also lodge a sigil. It's again to put it into a kind of ritual.
But I think that's how a lot of people who do sigil do it. You know,
I can't speak for other people's masturbatory experience, but you know, if it works for them, then good. Because you know, it's masturbating's fun, And it's
no, but I think like what I am kind of saying is that ritualizing it, it would be better in a sex way than a wank way.
Yes, but I suppose the only kind of downside to that is then that your or someone else's intention has to be involved. You have to be in tune. What if they don't want the same thing you want? Of course, you have to ask for permission, and that everyone has to be clued in. But also, different energies are then getting involved. Whose higher self is just going to, there's thing. Well, I agree. I think it's like, again, and then go, well, would 3 people be better? 5.
Lemonparty.org. Don't look it up if you're in work. Do not.
And then so group work, and you're getting into it an awful lot of thing. What a group. What about if 10 separate people in the comfort of their own home activated a sigil, the same sigil through masturbation, or would that be worse or better than 10 people in a room together doing it? We should experiment and try all of these things.
Spiritual soggy biscuit. Yeah, I like it.
But of course, the other ways of doing it, there's many different ways. But it is, again, a heightened emotion and or a heightened sense. The meditative thing of just looking at it, staring on it until it drops away or changes in form or whatever. There's kind of a thing that you can feel that if you're just in a meditative state and looking at a sigil, something in it changes, like it drops, or I can't really. There's a thing that happens that
there's a change. Yeah,
and and you just go right there. That's it. That have it. I've done ones where it's been really, really angry and screaming. But again, that's hard to fake, and the best ones are when I had one waiting for a moment, and it took a while, but it really worked really fucking quickly though. But I mean, there's probably better ways of doing it than wait until something shitty happens in your life that you're really angry with. You could definitely approach it in a beloved sense and get a real love buzz going up, and having that launched in that, the heart-centered stuff. Like, imagine sticking a sigil in your heart in the middle of a really meta, intense meta practice or whatever. Crying, sadness, joy. Music is a great one. If you have a particular song that gives you the hairs in the back of your neck stand up, or the shivers, all of that kind of stuff, the intense stuff you can get at the peak of that, pull out the sigil. Or listen, while you're listening to your stuff, the music that does that, you have it, the whole time, rather than just pulling it out of your pocket at the last second. I always wonder, like, what the kind of activation is when. It's like when you're having sex with someone and you go, when's a good time to you say, should I put on a condom? It's like, there's never a really perfect moment that you go, what are you on about? We're not having sex. Ah, shit. So it's like, you have the sigil in the pocket, and you go, when is the appropriate time to pull this out? When I'm really angry, really horny? Should I just have it here? So yeah, I don't know. So, people talk about as well with the sex kind of version of it is to draw it in people's heads, or whatever position you intend to do. If you've 7 positions, you could do a whole shoal and a robofish. Just draw sigils all over your partner.
She's looking around. Did you spit on my back? No.
Tell you. Reasons why people never take chaos magic seriously. This episode. So yeah, there's plenty of activation methods. So the question, I suppose, then, Spud, and I'll ask you your opinion, because I've been talking a lot there. What are you actually doing when you activate a sigil? Where's it going? Who are you asking to change? What's changing? What's actually happening now? What's your thoughts?
No one's going to like my answer.
I know. That's why I wanted you to answer it.
I'll put it this way. All the sigils I've ever done, vast majority don't work because they end up being material things. And her upstairs is just like, nah, man, you don't need that. You're grand. But if it's spiritual stuff, she's like, yeah, sound, yeah. It'll come when you're ready, kind of thing. That's my thing. I think you're petitioning your HCA or
your HCA.
Yeah, that's what I've found as my experience.
And you're certainly not alone in that. There's a bigger question that kind of comes out of this kind of stuff, and it might be too big. It might be too big, man, to go into one time. We'll try it anyway. It kind of, with that kind of notion, it then begs, like, why bother doing magic ever? Because if it's for you, in a sense, then it'll happen. And if it's not, you're pushing against what should be happening. In the sense of that.
Yeah, but it's like sitting on a horse, man. You know what I mean? Like, you got to kick him to make him go.
Yeah. It's a thing that kind of, I struggle with, because I tend to too often let it happen, right? But what happens is you become reactionary to it, that you're becoming reactionary to life, and that's not good. But I also know that an awful lot of stuff works out when you stop resisting it. You know, when
Well,
you
hold
go
on,
with the flow.
no. Examine that for a second.
Okay.
Like, you're never not reactionary to life, because we always live in the past. We don't live in the present, because we're here now, we're breathing in the present, we're talking in the present, but we're thinking about what happened a second ago, 5 minutes ago, or an hour ago, kind of thing. So,
and our entire interaction is based on every other interaction we've had.
So don't everyone, don't be too hard on yourselves about that, because that's just naturally the way we are, kind of thing, you know?
Well, I mean, it probably work best if I maybe give an example, right? Say, and of course my mind goes, example? What are you on about? Like, no examples. Yeah.
Sexy fruit.
Right, let's take the thing of going, well, I really fancy this person or whatever, and I want to have a relationship with them, or, you know, whatever level you want to go with that. And like going, well, if it's something that should happen, then it would naturally happen. So doing magic in it is kind of forcing something and could get me in a place where I don't want to be. But if I don't take action on it or whatever, it might just fizzle out and go away. So it's just kind of the idea of where is the bit where you kind of let it go, but also what's the point where you should say, no, I want this, you know? I don't know where that is with me. Yeah, because it comes out, I don't really know what I want either, you know? And if who am I the best person to know what I want? Because often I'm not. You know what I mean? Often I choose badly. So it's like, I don't know. But what happens, it's for me, it's come that I just kind of, well, I don't do magic now. Because it's kind of, am I forcing something? Is that not the way it's meant to be? Should I just be accepting? Should I be non-resistance or whatever? And so I'm trying to make an attempt to go, right, spend a while not doing that and see what happens. You know, the proper chaos magic approach. Does it make your life considerably better, worse, or does it matter at all? Does material stuff, say, does it matter? Like, if it's irrelevant in a sense, is having the sixth guitar or whatever, does that really change anything? And you may as well have it if you can have it. You know, that if your only moral objection to it is a moral objection, to have the sixth guitar. It doesn't matter. From a HEA point of view, they don't even know what a guitar is, possibly. So why not have it, you know, if it's making your life? But again, it's without getting into the dysfunction of the one thing, you know, that I think this guitar is going to make me happy. Because, I mean, it will in some level, but it's not ultimately filling that void that is in your heart. That nothing will. So, I mean, but that I could probably have a big, long conversation about, because then it comes into notions of surrender and all this stuff, and it's gone over stuff that we've talked about before, but it's kind of, remember the spiraling thing where I was telling you about? That's where it's hitting again. But other people, of course, say that you're...
You know, Tommy, like, it's different for everyone, and also it's different in every situation, too. You just kind of have to look for signs, don't you? And see what's happening around.
Well, that's it. Donald Michael Craig, one of the things he always said before you do any magic is you do a divination. Should I do this magic? And there's something in that. But again, that's asking permission, isn't it? Like that. So, I mean, there's an element of... it's almost as if at every level there's some sort of thing that you have to work out, isn't it? Like, it's mad, isn't it?
What is the best way to define something like that then? Will this benefit me? Is this for my benefit?
Should I do this?
Okay, isn't it?
I suppose, should I do this? Yes or no?
I don't know if the should question is right, though, is it?
Is this... am I going to get what I think I'm getting out of this?
Is this beneficial?
Is this beneficial? Will this...
Probably the best English you could do, couldn't you?
But having a cake will be beneficial in the first 2 minutes of eating a cake, because you'll feel great, but it isn't. So you have to then go, is it beneficial for me now, next week, next year, and long term?
Well, then 3 cards. Now, next week, next month.
It's like, no.
The depleted is turned up twice, and the tower is there as well. What the fuck?
Where did the tarot come? It's
Who's been at my
47
cards?
The devil comes in from loads of other tarot cards. Don't do this, man. Don't do this. So other people, of course, think that when you're doing the sigil, that you're throwing it into like the matrix, the simulation, that you're trying to change the notion of what's going on. Other people, you know, you're doing it to God, or asking God, or I think a lot of people don't really think about that. It's just kind of, I'm doing magic and this is what it is, you know. And I think that's probably the best, because you don't know ultimately. So just kind of put it out there, but then you're doing that new age thing of putting it out there, man. It's like, how's that working out for you? Well, life's a bit crap. All right, yeah.
What I like to do, there's a cool website called cool for geeks like me, called Omniglot. Just make sure I have that right. It is Omniglot, isn't it? Omniglot.com. So it has all these like fucking weird languages, man. It's deadly. It has like stuff from, there's obviously Tolkien, but there's stuff from The Witcher and Klingon and all those weird fucking made up. But then there's all these dead languages, Aramaic and Proto-Indo-European and all that kind of stuff. So like, take the thing you want, new car, or you can translate either the letters or translate the word into something cool, and then you're not going to remember it as well because it's not your language, they're not your letters.
Yeah.
Or another thing that I think have found that it works much better is instead of writing the words, just write the symbol of it,
Straight to it.
Yeah, straight to it. And then because that's, if it is your subconscious, your unconscious, that's the language that they may as well pluralize it. They deal in.
Yeah, so, exclusively.
Yeah, giving them words and language, they're like, what the fuck is this? This idiot again bugging us, wanting stuff. Oh, this is a loser. And so just
what a fucking loser. I can't believe I'm
stuck in this meat sack for the next 15 minutes. God, get me out of here. 15 minutes. Who's that? We need to tell him something. So the symbol, just draw the symbol or things that symbolize it. So, you want a new love, you want a new girlfriend, a little heart, nice pretty girl, babies, marriage, wedding things. Put all these things together and then make something nicer out of that.
Because that's the exact opposite of what they're saying, is that it should not remind you at all of what your intention is. But I think if you're going to go with the trying to tell the part of me that deals with symbols, then I think it should be a representation. It should look like what you want. And maybe drawing a happy face for happiness will work much better than
HPY it'd be, because you take out the double letters in the vowel. So HPY.
Some people do, some people don't. It depends, but the majority of people, I'd say, coming from the Grant Morris thing, will take out the repeating letters and the vowels. Maybe try only having the vowels, like the whole witch thing, and chant them, the ah, ee, ah, or whatever, that kind of stuff. Or but because like I was saying, sometimes if you're doing something for fishing and it can make it look like a fish hook, I find that effective. I find it aesthetically pleasing too, which has to be part of it too. That it's, because sometimes when you do a sigil and you're just kind of going, this looks
like shit. Eh?
It's not happening. This is not happening. No matter.
You have to like it.
And times I've just gone, right, well, that I, in a sense, take it as a sign. I can't get this to look right, so I'm going to drop it, or try a rewording or do something like that. But then sometimes you get to go, that's it, and it can be very quick too. But it's just like going back to the Alan Chapman stuff. Try all the different ways. Try the different things. Try, sigilizing stuff, drawing pictures, rather than turning it, it into a symbol. Turn it into a mantra of some description, into a chant, into all of these different things, and then try the different stuff of going, well, this was a sigil I got last week for $5, whatever it is. I wanted $5 and I got it. So now I'm going to decide that this is now a sigil for $10, or for something completely different. This is for a weird looking fruit, a penis fruit. Or whatever, and see if you can do it, because then you're, I suppose, getting into a thing of when does a sigil become a talisman? When is sigils only one and done? Is that what a sigil is? When does a sigil become a servitor? If you're doing a sigil for good luck, can you only use it once, or can you constantly refocus that energy for good luck? And then is that a servitor, or is it a talisman? Well, a talisman is more you do it at a particular time, though, isn't it? That you would, if you did. When the moon was right, when the glint was in your eye, all of these things. Just where do all of these things overlap? But the sigil and the servitor stuff is very interesting, because I can't find where it exactly overlaps or stops.
There's also a thing about them as well. Like, don't forget that they are a cheat code when you want to use them. Like we were talking to. He either said on a podcast as one of the times we were talking to Duncan Barford. He was saying that like he was listening to. Your man that wrote Secret Cipher, the Ufonauts, Alan Greenfield. Field or Field, isn't it?
Field in my head,
Field, yeah, it is Field. And he was saying We listened to a podcast where he's talking about this new book he has about sex magic, and he's like, "Yes, it's very informative. There's a lot going on here, but it's like, could have just done a sigil."
yeah. Sigil bad.
So be aware of that too, and it's. I think that's a handy thing. I think that if you are doing a ritual for something, I've done this a few times. If you are doing a ritual for something, to also have a sigil for it, and
yeah. Like we did that with the Secret Chief stuff.
Of course, yeah. To have that for it as well, so it goes along with it, and then even like after it's over, you can have a look at it every now and again, or put it back in your head, or meditate on it, or whatever. I think it's a cool little cheat code to have for stuff like that.
Yeah. Like
she's not going to do the Star Sapphire. Like she's just not.
Yes. Well, do a sigil first. Yeah. Then you get into dodgy territory. Aren't you forcing other people to have sex, Joe? What is that's strictly black magic, right? If
I'm usually the one forced. All right, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Fucking hell, you get an elbow at 5:30 in the morning. They're asleep.
Yeah, so am I, though. Yeah. Swiftly coming out of Spud's private life there. I suppose we should mention hypersigils as well, just to kind of, but you could go down a huge road in that. But a hypersigil, it's Grant Morrison's invention. There's no getting around it. It's his, coming from the Invisibles, which is essentially writing yourself into a piece of art, or in order that it reflects. Excuse me, while I die of COVID here. That it reflects, the art reflects life, and that you're trying to change in kind of an ongoing situation. People kind of taken that and ran with it and stuff, and it's probably a bit overused in a sense that no one seems to be able to do anything creative without it being a hypersigil if you're also in magic. What I mean,
what's the subreddit? I am the star of this show.
I'm the main character.
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever I hear hypersigil now, that's the first thing that comes to my head.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like definitely like the work that the one I did, the comic, 100% worked. Even though in the middle of it felt like it didn't. But I mean, there has.
No, but what I mean is that, like, it's people who write themselves into stories. I'm going to win $10 million, and I'm going to own a hotel in the Austrian Alps, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And it's like, fuck up with it.
Yeah. Like, at least if you're doing it, do good art. You know what I mean? To have good stories, not just a platform for. Like, The Invisibles isn't about Grant Morrison having sex. Even though that's, you know, at all. Even though it is, like, it's there, but it's, The Invisible has a greater scope. So it's not like just do the art in order. Because just do a sigil then. Just do a thing. You don't have to. Or if you are just going to do, what was it, Mary Sue? That was called when you just essentially. It's not a Mary Sue, it's something like that. Where you write yourself into like a supernatural episode. Okay. Yeah, right. It's like do something good. And the kind of the best kind of hypersigils are stuff that don't look like hypersigils. And people like come back just to Gordon White. He would say that rune soup is a hypersigil, and people are kind of go, I don't think you know what a hypersigil is, and he's like, no, I do. And I tend to agree with that. I think it could be. Why couldn't it be? Why does it have to be a comic? Why does it have to be a book? You know what? Like, I mean, it could be. That's his art. I think it could be anything you want. But it's just because we're limiting because of a name. If you were trying to affect change through art, why isn't a blog a brilliant idea to have it? It's just if you're strictly speaking of hypersigilness, where you have to have fictional characters or something. Music, you can definitely magic music. We all.
Yeah.
So
100% the music.
So great idea, Hypersigil. Just don't limit to it. And even when I kind of did it with Turbine Syndrome again, I did the meta thing of going, well, it's not really hypersigil. So just try to be more clever than I am and come up with something, because I'd want to read that.
What's the next after hyper? It's a supersonic sigil.
Yeah,
supersonic sigil actually sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, hypersonic sigil. Sigil comes from sigillum. In case people didn't know, which is the old word. That's why it's just for like a seal or like a stamp on a. Yeah, like on letters where you'd have the wax. That was a sigillum. So it's the same form of that. Did we cover everything? I'm just looking at my notes and I have like one line, and it was like intention symbol. That's my notes for this entire thing. Yeah, we've covered that anyway. So
yeah, we've done loads of.
Will we pick something for next week, or will we let the listeners decide what we do? Something in particular you'd like to do?
Meditation, sigils, banishings, deities, ancestors, invocations, evocations, saints, angels, demons, servitors, offerings. We did offerings. Divinations, pathworking, manifesting, animism, synchronicity, hero's journey, and then awakening.
Divination?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. Philip K. Dick, what do you think? What's your thoughts? Well, without putting it on the spot, the documentary we watched this week was a German-made documentary by Philip K. Dick, which came out a number of years ago, which is a very, I suppose, a look at the woo side of Philip K. Dick rather than essentially just his science fiction or his writing, but it incorporates all the things. But it's certainly a platform that is on his side on this kind of stuff, that says, that kind of agrees with him and thinks he had an insight and stuff like that. And there's no kind of dissenting voices going, oh, well, maybe he took too many drugs, or maybe he had a nervous breakdown. It's, oh no, this is for real. It's a lot of people agreeing with it. But it's great, like that's what it's saying up front.
See, I would have been on the side that he took too many drugs.
Yeah.
Except for,
That he only took acid twice.
He took acid twice. But he took a lot of speed and amphetamines. But they're not going to give you mystical experiences. They're just going to make you work harder.
Yeah, well, like Stephen King used to, be coked out of his head writing, and I know he's a horror writer, but he's not coming out with mystical experiences where he thinks he's remembering past lives or current lives, or maybe he is. He's just not talking about it. But it's not the type of drugs you would expect someone to have mystical experiences with.
No. Because it's just like, it's like, all these writers. There's a lot of writers in America who just take Adderall. It's just keeps them working and keeps them going and keeps them focused. It's not all that different, really, except it has worse side effects because it's made in someone's fucking attic or whatever. But it's like, it's after reading that Secret Cipher, the Euphonos book, mention it again. No, look, I've been convinced for quite a long time that Philip K. Dick's experiences are as real, not as real as he says, but are, what's the words I'm looking for, are as important as, say, the likes of Crowley. I'm going to say that.
Okay.
That.
Yeah. Right? Okay, right.
I think they're worth investigating, worth knowing about, because the stuff he spoke about and wrote about them is, they're too similar to other experiences to be dismissed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they match up with stuff that happened to Crowley. They match up with stuff that happened to Master Eckhart. They match up with stuff that happened to yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So there's all.
I mean, and Crowley never took drugs either. So I mean. Well,
but that book, that Kaczynski book, man, it's such a fucking whitewash, isn't it?
I still have got around to it.
It's good, but it's like it's so dismissive of like, well, it'll go into like 100 pages of him like how all the stuff he's kind of doing, and then then he had to go back one time to court because he was getting divorced, and as part of the evidence, it was said that he beat Rose and he wasn't nice to the second child, and the first child died when he abandoned him. But anyway, the next day then he just went to the shop and bought a new book. It's like, for fuck's sake, man. Such a whitewash, because he did beat Rose, and it's not mentioned at all until the divorce thing.
Oh, really?
Which is,
right, okay.
It's great on the detail, but anyway, moving on.
Yeah, I suppose we should, for people who don't know, who is Philip K. Dick? What is he? Why should I care? What's the story with him? Who is he?
He was a science fiction writer who didn't how to say it. At the time when he got into science fiction writing, it was pulp and it was for kids and teenagers, really. But he saw it as an opportunity to write good literature in as well. He wasn't the first one, but he gave it a bash anyway. And he'd write, right? It was, I don't remember how many books and short stories and all that he's written. It was quite a lot. But somewhere through, he started realizing that he kind of saw the world quite differently than most people. It was that there was a veil over it, and from time to time he could kind of see through it. Like he had this thing with a teacher in school where he's like, she was just babbling and talking. And he was like, she's not real. She's a fucking robot or something. And then, okay, you can kind of get into simulation theory and stuff like that. And he kind of...
Which he does. Yeah,
which he definitely does. Although, I've spoken about simulation theory probably enough. For me, it's kind of it's a disassociation tool that you use where it's like, I'm different than you. You know, whether it's to say I'm better than you or I'm worse than you, that depends.
And it's also escapism, as my real life is somewhere else. You know.
Yeah. Which I wouldn't agree with at all. But
I think even if it's true, it's not a healthy way to look at it.
No.
You know, even if it's 100% true,
not.
you probably shouldn't think of it that way. Also, because then you have the non-player character stuff, which is, you know, dehumanizing at its worst level.
Pretty much horrible. But
so he's most famous for writing a lot of science fiction that were subsequently turned into movies. So people would probably know him from like Blade Runner, which is based on the android's dream of electric sheep. And it's similar enough, but it's different. But it's kind of, the whole notion in Blade Runner is that how we differentiate between humans and non-humans is this thing of empathy. So the whole point of how you can judge if this person is an android is, can they empathize? You know, why aren't you turning the turtle over? You know, that whole thing. Why is that? But of course, the thing is that they do. They develop it or they become more human or whatever. They understand these things. And so then that has to fall away and go, well, what is the difference? Blade Runner's great for that. The subsequent director's cuts and stuff, I think, are a bit too on the nose for me. But he also did A Scanner Darkly, Minority Report.
That's a miserable book. Oh, Jesus. That's one of the most miserable books I've ever read. Like, it's...
But he's gone through a hard time, let's say, at the time. So
no, it's brilliant, but it's just like, like there isn't...
There's no light in that book at all. Like,
it's one of those books where like everyone's a baddie, you know? It's kind of like Ozark. It's a big thing at the minute on Netflix, and it's like
everyone's a baddie, you know.
There's really kind of one character who's this moral guiding light, and she's still a bitch, you know.
Right.
But you like her because she's ballsy and she's up against the world kind of thing. Whereas everyone else is just motivated by fucking greed, and it's great, you know. It's it's really good. But anyway. Minority Report isn't, well, it's not quite like that, but it's kind of like everyone is just out for themselves kind of thing.
The whole thing is that the Minority Report is that you are going to get...
Sorry, Scanner Darkly, I mean. Scanner Darkly. And like he ends up... It's this weird thing. He's a cop, but no one can see his kind of real face because he wears this suit when he's out investigating. But he ends up having to dob himself in to the cops because the investigation is going so deep. He has to start ratting on himself and telling their own stories on himself. And then he ends up getting himself arrested and he's like, it's just a shit ending then. And you're like, what the fuck? There's no hope in this society at all. Like,
but that was deep in his post-divorce amphetamine hell of everyone around him in this little apartment. This is where the one of the big kind of things, mysteries of Philip K. Dick's life is that he comes home one day and the safe that he had all his writing in, he claims, gets blown open and he talks and it's all removed and people, it's the government, it's the aliens, whatever. And people go, it was probably a lot of cocaine or speed or whatever it was that he was getting into, because there's talk that he was dealing at the time, and and it was kind of the hub for drug things. But it's become part of the mythos. Minority Report, of course, is that what if you could stop crime by predicting the future, that you're going to do crime in the future, so we're arresting you before it happens. And it kind of talks about notions of free will, and should someone be punished for something that they will do, or decent enough film. Tom Cruise, there's a lot of Tom Cruise running in it, so what more do you want? He I suppose the big event is the 1977 Paris. It's France anyway, talk.
It's brilliant, isn't it? You ever watched it?
He does. I watched a whole lot of it for the first time there during the week.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
It's very, very similar, I suppose, in the sense of like the Grant Morrison Disinfo lecture, where it just kind of comes from nowhere, screaming banshee. Although he's very reserved and quite kind of, he's not.
The poor translator is going, what the fuck? Yeah. I'm supposed to be here. I thought we were going to talk about film, and he's talking about the nuts and bolts of reality. You know.
But supposedly he went away to France because he's running away from this investigation as well into the drugs thing. So he said, well, I have to get out of the country. So this is where he announces that rather than it just being his sci-fi and his books and his kind of stuff, is that, no, I actually believe this and take it if you want. I'm not saying it to you for you to believe me. I don't really care. But that doesn't mean it's not true or it's not my experience or whatever. And just he talks about the main kind of trust is that he has heard before that people have talked about remembering past lives, but he's never heard anyone talking about remembering lives that are now. That he's as if he's remembering different versions of what's happening now, and talks about all the different. It's like it's on the internet, but there's also a couple of ones where you'll find people doing commentary on it. And I sat through one of them, and while there is some insights and whatever, there's a certain sect of people who grasp onto Philip K. Dick, who would be in the MAGA type of stuff, or the QAnon stuff as well. So you have to be quite careful that they seem to be taking them on for himself and, kind of saying things. Well, he's not really saying that, but but from that kind of point of view. So there is a lot there. But the sound is terrible, so you're going to have to try and find a subtitled one at least. But try and just watch him without a commentary first, then go into your commentary and have all the fun you want. But you will see people are laughing at him though. Like the crowd are laughing at him. They're not taking serious. His girlfriend at the time has her head in her hands, just going, "Oh, get me out of here, please." But some people are also really into it, whatever. But that was kind of that. I suppose that's the defining moment in Philip K. Dick's life.
Jesus, I'd have been into it. Imagine being there for that. Being like, "Yeah, I'm on board."
Yeah. Well, yeah. Tell me more, man. Yeah.
I would buy all your books.
Yeah. And I suppose this is the kind of interesting thing. The documentary we watched, anyway, I watched a few of them. I'm sure you looked at other stuff, and we've seen other stuff. He's talked about in Eric Davis's book as well, and he comes up a lot. Like, it's not someone. I'm sure most people listening to this know who Philip K. Dick is. But there's another documentary, and it's one of those ones that was posted years ago. Remember when you can only have 10 minutes on YouTube? So it's done like over 9 parts.
Right.
And it's interviewing his friends and the people who are around him, who grew up with him and stuff like that, rather than the hangers-on, the people who then got involved afterwards.
Yeah.
And the only kind of positive voices, his wife who's in this, his last wife who was in the documentary we watched, and she gets into it. She kind of goes, this is too weird, but I understand it, and I believe it. She's the only kind of positive voice. The rest are all going, yeah, he had a nervous breakdown and lost it. This was terrible. Like the people were so worried about him, so they thought he'd properly worried that he was going to die and all this, like, and it was really like, all right, this is interesting that it's completely a different point of view. Understand, like, by the end of it, seemingly his last book, I haven't read it anyway, it talks about a character who reads too much into life, into symbolism, and has taken on too much, and in some way kind of goes,
Timothy Archer, that one. Timothy Archer,
I think so, yeah. So he's kind of going that his friends going, oh well, I think by the end of his life he's in some way recanting or seeing that he may have lost his way a bit. So I think that's probably a pendulum swing too far, but it's worth also to the people around him who knew him, to the fact that his wife or his girlfriend at the time did think he was falling apart in this historic press conference for a FilmCon in Paris. I think it's Paris. Excuse me if it's not. But so it's worth watching, considering there's no opposing voices in this documentary, which they're all on YouTube. I can link them in the show description anyway. But Anthony Peake is in it, who wrote that HGA book I was talking about last week. A couple other people, not really an awful lot of people who I kind of like recognise from other documentaries or anything, but obviously people who are, know it well, know the story well. What is his actual thing? If you could boil it down, though, what do you think it's that?
Oh,
yeah, it's hard. Like, I when he's talking, I can go, yeah, no, I get
something
it.
is hard to explain. I mean, you don't understand it. No,
yeah, but that's it. I don't think what's the elevator pitch of what Philip K. Dick?
The last wife says that he described to her that it's okay. So we think of time in linear, all right, because that's how we experience it. But his thing was that no, it goes different ways and intersects, and he was able at times to see through this. That was one thing. Then the second thing was he had this kind of HGA figure,
Valis,
Valis, Sophia. He had different names for it or her, and it was something that would talk to him from time to time.
But was also kind of bound with his dead sister, which that's a horrifying thing. Where she would always turn up as this dark-haired woman in his books. There was a gravestone. Basically, it's a horrifying story. The mother had 2 kids, could only fed too much milk or baby food to Dick because he was hungrier, and the other kid died. So there was like a tombstone with her, and then waiting for him to die. And it was like
the name part was
ready for him and all this kind. So she's always popping up in all the books. She's Rachel in Blade Runner, all that kind of stuff. This kind of dark-haired woman who reveals something. And but that also then becomes the HEA Valis kind of. It's all connected into this kind of a weird but understandable, makes sense. That it is all connected in a sense. It's not.
Well, though, like if he had stumbled upon Talima, it could have all been explained to him what all this is. Like, okay, this is astral projection. This is HEA. Go off now and make some cum cakes. You're grand.
Hang around, put all the cum cakes in the safe. No one will come for that. Yeah. But he also has this kind of stuff where he's having his life now, but he also says things like, I'm remembering things from the future. Not that he's predicting stuff, that he's remembering it, that it's the same as a remembrance of things that we would, when you suddenly remember something from the past. He also thought he was living a life right at the same time in Rome, in Roman times as well, that he would go in and out of. Very, very kind of strange. Like, you can understand if someone was doing an awful lot of psychedelics, that would be something that might dysfunction into, but or time would kind of slip away, or if you're doing a lot of meditation and stuff. But he didn't seem to be a big meditator by any stretch, or doing any of this kind of stuff. It seemed just something that naturally kind of grew in him. Very, 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 very fascinating, and it'd be easy just to dismiss with drugs, because there's a lot of drugs. Or mental illness, or
and there's not enough of it mentioned in this.
No, but
there's a lot in other stuff.
And the paranoia, and it's kind of, the paranoia is kind of dismissed because it doesn't matter if he's paranoid because the we're out to get him, and right, okay, but you're still really paranoid.
Yeah, but out to get him, well, okay, the CIA had a file on him, so what? That doesn't mean they're out to get him. That just means they're keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, and he didn't leave the house, so he was essentially shut in.
I was someone told me I have a file with the Polish, whatever they're called, CIA or whatever. But it's only because I'm foreign. Like that's just it. Every foreigner has a filer. That's it. Like, it's no big deal. Like.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is, man. Whatever. You know what I mean?
That'd be quite. It's like.
It'd be a short file,
You don't have a file on me. Well, what the fuck am I doing all this for? Seriously, I haven't made any waves in CIA headquarters. None.
Subconscious is going, loser.
Loser.
Spud goes up and blows up a bridge. just so a paragraph is typed about him in Warsaw.
It's just a tiny wee bridge that no one ever uses. It's like the leftover, goes over a stream. You can actually walk over it. Yeah.
There's loads of them here.
All right. Yeah, just overkill. Just a huge explosion for a tiny wee bridge. CIA Spud is not going to blow up a bridge. That's not happening. Maybe in the future. Who knows? Maybe it's predestined that he does. Maybe a voice will come and tell him. So yeah, it's the people have then developed this kind of stuff and kind of ran with it and stuff. So you get into like the simulation theory, you get into the multiverse theory, you get into all of this. He has a somewhat unreadable book called Exogenesis. Am I pronouncing that right? I hope I am. That I've started on audiobook, and it's not really unreadable. It's kind of said unreadable. As an audiobook, it seems to work quite well so far, but it's like 70 hours or something. But
there's the guy I listened to, I can't remember his bloody name now. He appeared in one of our documentaries, actually. He did a PhD on exegesis,
right?
And then he released that as a book. That's really interesting.
All right, well, yeah,
it's good, yeah.
Is that Eric Davis? That one, that book, that one.
That must be it.
Yeah. So this is essentially the Red Book, Carl Jung's Red Book, only Philip K. Dick's version of it. Like it's his thoughts and all this put together. It wasn't meant to be published. It was his diaries, I suppose, or his kind of insights, put together, and then years later after he died it was edited together into some sort of form that was somewhat readable, but it explains the whole thing about Valis, explains all the different notions or whatever. And then you have like Anthony Peake talks about him in that Diamond book as well, and kind of draws on it. He thinks, you know, that it's that, how does your Diamond or your Daemon or your HGA know? It's because he believes he was already dead. You know, that anyone who's having these experiences, you've already died, you're reliving your life. The thing we were talking last week, and so that's why he could kind of predict his own life, because when he asked for something of Valis, where he goes, well, tell me the truth or show me something, and he's shown when he's lying on the couch dead, he's unconscious.
Thanks.
Yeah. So Andy Peake is saying, well, that's the moment where the HGA or whatever gets activated, because that's the death, you know, and so everything starts slowing down, you start reliving your life, and so that's him revealing to it. So you can read an awful lot of stuff in, and there's always kind of a point when people start taking, what I've noticed with Philip K. Dick is they'll go, and you know, when he said this, and really go, and then there'll be a point where they go, but what Philip K. Dick gets wrong, and then I go, right, I'm kind of out of here now, because it's like, now I'm going to turn all of this stuff into what I think.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it should be accepted as is, you know, because you could take all of that and you could Elon Musk it and say he's just talking about simulation theory, or you could take all of that and go, it's just Telema, and it's, you know, it's HGA stuff. And I don't think it is all of that, but it's something else too. It's, you know, it's a very unique kind of flavour of it. And I don't think you got anything wrong, other than, you know, the general stuff we all get wrong about life or whatever. But the kind of bastardization of trying to put his theories into your own, I kind of have not an issue with. I just kind of go, right, okay, I know what's happening here.
I think he fell for that trap that a lot of people do, and that, like, you know, you're the special one. You know this, you know. But it's only because he just seemed to not know that there was other stuff out there that helped him deal with it.
Yeah, like it's just if you had found Telema, or you had found someone who you said, oh yeah, I've had these experiences, so let's talk about them, you know, rather than thinking. But that, I mean, it's an easy trap to fall in with the chosen one stuff or the special one. When a society or as a culture, we're not allowed to talk about these things. You know, so that if you don't have reference points for it, then you are going to think you're special, because this is definitely happening. You know, no one else is talking about it. It must be only happening to me. But if we had a kind of a system or something where we, you know, which I understand is the kind of need, don't talk about awakening, don't talk about enlightenment, blah, blah, blah. But then the next person doesn't know. You know, so you should talk about it, even if you get it wrong.
Football all the time. Great, that's great for me, but not for most people.
I just get 3 or 4 sentences and then I go, how about that team? Yeah.
Jonathan Lethem.
Right.
That's the one I listened to. Who did
this,
exegesis. It's quite long. Yeah, it's 52 hours. There you are.
Right.
And I fucking finished it. And I'm still no better for it. I know, I do know a good bit more. But like, I've read a fair bit of Dick, but not enough.
Right. You haven't had hold on. You haven't had enough.
I haven't had enough Dick in my life. Can't wait to welcome more Dick in my life.
Yeah.
I've actually ordered more Dick in my life.
Yeah. Dick is coming today.
More Dick is coming. Tomorrow.
Yeah. I
want to read the Valis trilogy, because the Valis stuff I don't know about from this exegesis of Philip K. Dick. I didn't know when I was reading Philip K. Dick that he had this kind of experiences, because as far as I was concerned, Philip K. Dick just read these cool science fiction, Scanner Darkly, Ubik, what else? Android's Dream of Sheep, stuff like that. So it was I only kind of knew his mass marketed stuff really until a couple of years ago. You know?
Yeah, it's I don't even know where the Derek Davis book was. I suppose was okay, but there's Robert Anton Wilson and Terrence McKenna in that, so it's not just about. So we'll put in that one. There's a couple of versions of exegesis on Scribd, whatever they want to call it, and loads of stuff. Yeah, but I'll put in the different documentaries I found and a couple of different kind of things.
There was a great thing one of the commentators said on this, and he was saying that like up until when until Phil Dick was writing science fiction, like all books or all science fiction films were always about like one or two guys who were against authority, you know, and that like we'd be living in a dystopia, but there was a resistance to it, you know, kind of thing. And he was saying that no, like his books were about like just ordinary people, like what they were going through during the dystopia, or during the bad times, or during the strange technology changes. And he said that, what did he say? The world, he saw, where he didn't write horror as much as he wrote about the creepy sensation that all certainties stand upon sand. It was like, oh, that's a fucking great line.
Great line.
That sums it up brilliantly, like, you know, because he would, you know, looking at like even like Scanner Darkly, like all these different relationships that are going on with the guy and his housemates, the girlfriend, and I think there's another maybe a previous girlfriend in it, and it's just like everything is so fucking superficial between them all, but they're all playing this game that we're all supposed to play, and we're all kind of friends with people who are just toxic arseholes, but we're only friends with them because we find ourselves in the same situation, or we've known them for so many years, kind of thing, you know. It's great at finding stuff like that.
It's so I mean, we could go on, but we just start repeating ourselves all the time. Check him out if you haven't checked him out. I'm sure most people know who he is, but do check out that press conference. It's lays it all out. It's really good.
It's great.
And and I'll put all the links in the show description that I can remember. I'm getting pretty good at that, I have to say. I'm pretty on the ball these days, as to say. That's a football expression, isn't it? That's like, I mean,
on the
there
ball.
we go. On the ball. Right, is that us then for this week? Now in 35. That's pretty good. Yeah. Right. Enjoy your week and see you next week.
What was that? What was that?
That's my radio. My radio exit. Hey, you guys! Thanks for joining us today. On TaSTA.
You can text in at 8055999.
Yeah. Coming up next is Jim and John, and they're going to bring you through the evening. Lunchtime traffic news. And I hate talk radio. I hate it.
And now to our eye in the sky, watching traffic. Traffic is moving.
Yeah.
Bye, Tommie.
Bye.